Hi guys, Lucy, aka the Watchbox Diaries here. Welcome to the channel. Now, today I've got something a little bit different, and you know I'm a fan of something that's a little bit different. Coming all the way from Australia, literally the other side of the world, the Tide Seeker from Bauer Watches is a 38mm compact haul watch with a tide indicator, all for under £300. On the surface, it is stylish, practical, and well executed. So let's dive in, pun entirely intended, for a closer look and see whether it actually lives up to that promise. Let's get into it. So a little bit about the company first. Bauer Watches are a relatively young Australian microbrand based in Manly, which is kind of a beachside suburb in Sydney. Their focus is on ocean-inspired tool watches with minimalist aesthetics at honest prices. The Tide Seeker is their first release, and it's designed to help ocean lovers stay connected to the tide cycle, which is pretty important if you're doing, say, I don't know, surfing. As usual, I'm gonna start with the specs. So I'm pretty impressed with these actually. So it comes in at 39mm with a lug to lug of just 45mm. Thickness is 10mm and your lug width is a very nice standard 20mm. Case is made of stainless steel and has a box sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating, which is very helpful. Movement is the Semidiurnal Rhonda Quartz and a power reserve of up to 5 years. It comes with 100 meters of water resistance and currently is available in 3 colorways. So the blue, which is the one I have here, and white, and then they do have a limited edition black as well. Price-wise, I think these are pretty reasonable. So 489 Australian dollars for the white and the blue, which is I think around 250, 300 pounds. And then if you want the limited edition black, it is $649, which again, I believe is around about 325 pounds. I am a fan of a unique complication, and this is something that you don't see very often. The movement itself isn't mind-blowing, but I do love and appreciate something that you don't see all the time. And then even better, that it is relevant as a release from the company. Similar to, say, a moon phase. Personally, it's not something that I would ever really have a need for or a use for. However, it is something, as I mentioned, that is quite a unique complication that's kind of cool to have and also talk about. Next up is my favorite part of this watch, and that has to be the dial. I'm very pleased with their initial colorway options. I can imagine it's quite a tough decision when you're first releasing a watch to make sure you get the right colorways. They've gone for white, which is very smart to provide a neutral option. And then you have this gorgeous, deep, like ombre shade of blue to black that kind of mimics the ocean. And then that also ties in with the company and the watch function as well. Specifically on the blue as well, I do think the colorway helps make the white markers pop a lot more. They're a lot more prominent. And then just to top it all off, it has this really cool sandblasted dial texture, which again creates a little bit of interest without taking away the legibility of it. And those white markers are serious blocks of lume. While because of the size of them, they do take a little bit longer to build up, charge up, however you want to describe them, it is a very impressive lume and it has real staying power. Now, I say this often because personally, it is something that is very important to me, and that is that size does matter. The dimensions on this are excellent. They chose really well in designing it. It's real compact tall watch proportions. That 39mm sizing with just a 45mm lug to lug is such a smartly sized piece for so many people. It's comfortable to wear. You've got those downturn lugs, and then to top it all off, comfort-wise, it has a really nice rubber strap. So yeah, wrist-wise, wrist wear, on point. So my first gripe is that the crown is quite small. It's quite fiddly to use. There is a little indent on the back of the case, so that helps to be able to pull the crown out, but when you're actually turning it, it's a little bit on the small side. It also isn't a screw down crown. Personally, I'm not that bothered by that. However, I do know there are some people out there that feel a little bit more comfortable if it actually screws down. Okay, so this one isn't necessarily a gripe, bit more of a personal preference. Because the loom is so impressive on it, it would have been nice for that little second hand to also be loomed. I think it could help with legibility, but then it would also just tie the whole thing in a little bit more. I know that accuracy is important to a lot of people, and to have accuracy and set the time precisely, you do need a minute track, which is something this watch is lacking. Maybe if they had put a small track on the rear or even on the bezel very thinly, I think that might have helped. So this is less of a gripe and more of advice. Don't do what me and Matt did, and make sure you read the manual when you're trying to set the tide indicator. We were a little bit concerned that we had broken it to begin with, but it turns out you actually just need to press and hold to activate the tide indicator, move it around, and then obviously you can push to change it in smaller increments. It does come with a little push tool, which is essentially a cocktail stick. It would be nice if it was presented a little bit better, more of a, ta-da, this is actually an accessory. I did receive a sample piece though, so I'm not sure whether once you actually purchase one, it's presented in a different way. I think with so many brands popping up over the last couple of years, it's becoming increasingly difficult to produce something that's unique and that stands out. But I do think that Bow watches have managed to do that with this debut offering. You know, for £250 to £350, you get sapphire crystal, Swiss quartz, accurate timekeeping, sought after dimensions, 100 meters water resistance, and a rarely seen tide complication. You know, sure, it's not a mechanical movement and there are some refinements that could help, but as an overall package, I think it's pretty solid. Whether you're looking for a tide indicator specific watch to use its function, or you're simply intrigued by the complication in a very well spec'd holiday watch, I think the Tide Seeker could really appeal to you. That is it. That is my Tide Seeker review done. Thank you very much to Bow Watches for letting me get hands-on with this piece. I had a lot of fun playing around with it. Now, as always, it's over to you guys. What do you think? What do you think of this watch? Have you heard of the brand before? Do you have one on order? Would you have interest or even actually benefit from a tide indicator? Let me know everything in the comment section below. Thanks so much for tuning into my horological ramblings. If you would like to support me and the channel, there's a few things that you can do. So I have set up a Buy Me a Coffee because, as I say, coffee is life, and the link is in the description and also my bio. And then you've got the YouTube things, so make sure you've given this a like, you've commented in the comment section, you're subscribed to the channel, obviously, and then if you want to be notified of my upcoming videos, all you've got to do is click the little bell and YouTube will do its thing. Until next time though, bye!